Well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching the Kyle Ewald Live podcast. I have my really good friend Willie here. Hello, Willie. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you, Kyle.
So good. Well, before we get started with today, it's going to be absolutely incredible. We have known each other for over 21 years, Willie and I, and it's amazing because we have known each other for that long. But today's topic is going to be how do we handle and how do we talk about and how do we still be friends when you have completely different political views, completely different religious views? That's what today's topic is going to be about. And so here we go.
We would love to promote your business right here on the Kyle Ewald podcast. With over 40,000 potential viewers, take your business to another level. Whether you're a business owner, sell beauty or health products, or just looking to push your brand, contact us today.
Kyle is a passionate speaker who has preached and spoken at events all around the world. He thrives in pointing people to their purpose and encourages everyone to leave their mark on this world. If you want to invite Kyle to preach or speak at your church, event, or company, visit kyleewald.com now.
Well, welcome back. This is Kyle and Willie here, and today we're going to be talking about how do we handle political and religious differences. As I said before, Willie and I have known each other for over 21 years, and I'll tell you how that happened. What I knew of is my father passed away when I was 8 years old, and around at that time, my mom put me in a program called Big Brothers and Big Sisters. You've probably heard of that. And so Willie, it's amazing how it happened, but Willie was, I guess, would you say assigned to me? How do you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were assigned to me, and it was just crazy how much we had in common. And even me at 30 years old, I run a marketing agency, and Willie had a very successful, it's still going, but, sold an amazing, successful marketing agency. And we both lost our moms, and the story is just crazy. But today we're going to be talking about a very cool topic because there's a lot of us, including me and Willie, who I've known each other. We've known each other for over 21 years, and we have completely different political views. We have completely different religious views, but we are still able to talk and still able to be there for each other. And that's what I wish more and more people would just catch a hold of is, listen, you don't have to agree with everybody. You don't have to believe the same things, the same exact things that everyone does. We can still be friends. We can still be family, and we can still go and accomplish amazing things together, which is what I'm going to talk about. Because what's incredible about what Willie is doing in his life, it's amazing. I wrote down that you're a professor. So you're a professor at SMU. I'm going to let you talk about that in a minute. You're an activist. And then I wrote the other one down. Dang, I always forget this. Okay. Artist. There it is. Artist. How do I forget artist? Okay. But that's incredible. But so tell me a little bit about, actually, before I do that, I wanted to go on with really quick. First of all, before we get started, Willie, I wanted to publicly say I am so grateful for you because of what you have done and what you've been there in my life. I mean, my mom died when I was 13, and thank God I had a relationship with you during that time, and you were there the entire way, and you've been there constantly. And I just want to say, for real, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being there in my life and helping me guide me in just different directions of my life. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think I would be the man I am today if I didn't witness you, run a business. If I didn't witness just how you treat people in general. Everyone is Willie's friend. And, everyone says that about me. They're like, man, you're such a people person, right? And I really believe that, part of that is just, I guess, genetics and my mom. My mom was super social, but for sure, I watched people like you, just how you handled people was incredible. So tell me a little bit about yourself. talk to me about SMU. Talk to me about the business that you had, and just kind of get our viewers really quick to know who you are and what you do.
Well, first, I'm going to start off and say you were 9 years old when I met you. You were adorable then. You're still adorable.
Aw.
And your mom loved you so much. I was touched by how much your mom loved you. And I think that the event of your mom passing away and me being able to be there for you, and then shortly thereafter, my mom got sick and passed away quickly, that it deepened our bond. And I've said this to you before, but I'm really proud of you. Watching you evolve, become the man you are. I was at your wedding. I've just been in your life for such a long time. It's a rich thing to be with you today. So yeah, I teach full-time at SMU. I'm a professor in the creative advertising department here. I teach classes in graphic design and creative advertising. It's really focused on creativity. I am really trying to help my students understand how best to maximize their creative abilities and how to take that and apply it in the real world, like at a marketing agency, advertising agency. I was just chatting with students literally a few minutes ago. Some are doing animation, some are, they're in all corners of the country right now. So, but yeah, that's kind of my day job, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
did you ask me something else?
No, but well, yeah, I'm going to get to something else, but I'll tell people, you just said, you went to my wedding, and I was thinking the entire time you were like, one of the groomsmen, and you were literally taking selfies like the entire time. Like, you made like this little documentary, and I'm like, this is so something I would do. And I'm so happy I have someone in my wedding that's doing it. And it was incredible. Like, you got better photos than, well, I can't say that, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying it was incredible. And so talk to me, before we get going into what you do other than SMU, because I really want to kind of lead that up. I want you to kind of tell our viewers, just because they don't know both of us. A lot of our viewers know me. I'm I would say conservative. I am a Donald Trump supporter. I'll just be clear. I don't always agree with everything that he says. I don't agree with the way he does certain things, but for the most part, a lot of the things he stands for, I agree with. And I'm a Christian. Anyone who follows me knows that I'm a pastor, and I love Jesus, and that's a very big part of my life. And so I want you to talk about where you stand politically, and I guess if you could follow that up with your religious background and what you would consider yourself in religion.
Yeah. So I'll start with, I was raised, my parents were both Catholic. I'm from South Louisiana originally, and I was raised in a pretty hardcore Catholic family. My mom passed away in 2003, and she, everything that I believe about myself from the standpoint of generosity and loving people and being empathetic, I really feel like I got a lot of that from my mom. She had the biggest heart in the world. She would give and help anybody with anything. And at the same time, I think that as I got to be a young man, I just some of the stuff that I was taught as a Catholic growing up just didn't really resonate for me. And I started, especially once I got into college and I started exploring lots of other religions and philosophies. And I've always been a curious person. I think that from a religious standpoint, I realized that there was a lot of wisdom out there from lots of different ways of looking at the world, and that I wasn't sure if there was a one way, for instance. And so if I had to label myself, I'd call myself an agnostic. I'm essentially a questioner and a seeker. And that's just kind of where I am. Politically, I think I'm clearly more of a progressive than you are, at least in terms of what you've shared. I tend to really and this will probably come through when we talk about the We Are All Homeless project. But I really believe that a lot of what drives me is really wanting to be mindful of and have compassion for people that I feel are marginalized, people who's either are in the minority for whatever reason, whether it might be race or sexual orientation or religious beliefs or their class, and that's where the homeless population often falls. But I think for my beliefs, I tend to want to be as accepting as possible and to kind of meet people where they are, because I have friends of every stripe from all over the place, and I think a big part of what motivates me is around compassion, and I think that's one of the things you and I share because you probably know a lot more about the Bible than I do, but I would say that everything that I know about the way I've learned about Jesus's life is frankly quite true for what I believe as well, in terms of accepting people and helping, and just that spirit of being selfless and giving that's what inspires me, and that's what I really want to be more of.
Yeah.
So I know that we may have different labels, and I think that there's so many things you and I share that I believe, like you do, that I think people, it's actually, I think it makes life richer when I have friends who believe differently than me, so that we can learn from each other and talk to each other and maybe solve problems together, because the world needs that right now.
And that's one of the biggest things that I have always respected about you and our relationship is, you as an agnostic, I'll be sitting with you and we'll be having a conversation. And if I'm not careful, I could just surround myself with just Christian believers, right? And not intentionally, but I'm just, not around people who just aren't in the same world that I'm in, right? But whenever I'm sitting with you and you'll say certain things that it just opens my mind of like, wow, like I didn't even think about something like that. And that's how you process certain things, I'll even say just really quick, when it gets to like homosexuality, for instance, I used to be the pastor and the guy that was just very hardcore about that. Like, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. Although, in the Bible, it clearly states, that it is wrong and whatnot. But the approach that I had on it was just, was hateful, right? Which is what I see sometimes with some pastors. And, my cousin, was a lesbian and she ended up killing herself. Right. And I just think about so many times, like, and that's the moment that I think it really changed my perspective of, like we can't, if we don't believe the same thing. And one thing I've learned as a Christian is that even, like, okay, somebody else's sin, I have stuff in my life that maybe isn't as visible or, is just as wrong as whatever it is. Right. And so that's one thing I've learned from you constantly is just, looking at life from an open perspective and being real with each other and talking with each other and learning from each other and being able to have that conversation, which I think is so important. And that's, I just think that's so good. And so what is your thoughts? I think it'd be cool really quick I didn't put this in our list, but if you wouldn't mind, what is your thoughts towards a Christian of, encouraging them to have dialogues with non-believers? What is your thoughts with that? Like, what is your advice to, for instance, believers?
I don't know that it would be any different than I would really tell anyone. And that is that, at least for me, there's a lot of stuff I feel like I know, and there's so much stuff that I don't know or don't understand. And I'm not even sure my brain's big enough to understand all of the mysteries of this world. And, you mentioned sexuality, and there's just so much to understand and to know. And my belief is that when I'm aware of all the stuff that I don't know, I tend to be a lot more empathetic and curious, and I stand to learn in those situations. I don't think I am in a position to judge other people and to tell them they're right or wrong about their beliefs. I'm not smart enough to know all of that stuff.
Right.
And so what I would say is that my sense of, and even in Christian teachings that I'm aware of, that humility seems to be a really important virtue. And that's the way I try to approach all of my relationships. And, I have students that are Muslims and Hindus and Christians and Jews. And I have friends and students and people in my life from all different kinds of backgrounds and cultures. And I'm not in a place to know if somebody's right or wrong. I
Sure.
do know that if I approach them and love them and accept them, that I might actually learn something. And so that would be my general input to anyone. There's a lot to know in this world, and I haven't met anybody so smart that they know it all.
Right. Right. And that's where, like, for me, I've just seen so much in my life, because when you do try to figure it out, you'll never figure it out. Like there's a quote that I forgot who it was, but what is it? Stay away from someone who knows everything or something like that. I forgot what it was, but for me, I've it's really been a personal thing for me where I've really come and I'm like, okay, like if there's not a God, then the way my life has worked out has been pretty crazy, right? Or like I know that it was really just a personal experience to me that really showed me, okay, there's God out there, there's Jesus, or and that's where my relationship with him has really developed, is in that context. And so one thing that I think, because we are going a little bit long, one thing I think is amazing is that you have an incredible nonprofit that I want us to talk about, um, because the point of this whole thing is y- everybody in this world has the potential to do amazing things, and you are doing a work that is incredible. And I want you to kind of tell the people what you're doing, and I'm going to show a video after that. But talk to me about your project.
Yeah, so for the past 27 years, I have been buying and collecting cardboard signs from people on the streets, people experiencing homelessness, people down on their luck, whatever the reason. Um, and about 11 years ago, I started to use these signs in large scale art installations and started talking about the project and really hoping to just change people's minds about the way they might view people on the streets and the circumstances and so forth. And that led to, in 2014, I traveled across the country with a film crew, and we filmed a documentary, buying signs and having in-depth conversations with people on the streets from Seattle down to San Diego, and we ended in New York City. And the project has sort of snowballed. It's taken on a much bigger presence than I ever dreamed. I think the video you're going to show has been viewed 6.4 million times online.
Wow.
And, I currently have an exhibit that's up at the Anchorage Museum in Anchorage, Alaska.
Wow.
And our documentary is on Amazon Prime. It's been this, it's a journey that I think I'm going to be on for the rest of my life. And I continue to be humbled and learn from all of the people that I come across. There's some beautiful people all around the world, and I've heard some amazing stories from people experiencing homelessness and other people that are doing amazing things to try to help. So that's the project in a nutshell. It's called We Are All Homeless, and the documentary is called Signs of Humanity.
And that's on Amazon Prime. So anyone watching this right now can go and get on Amazon Prime tonight and watch it. Incredible. And that's what I love, because you and I have always had that same heart. I know this from the very beginning I've ever met you. And I really think that you are a huge part of, me being so just curious. Like I remember being probably 16 and I filmed a documentary. One of the first videos I've ever filmed was in downtown Dallas filming the homeless. Right. And so like, that's one thing I love about you and I is that, we are out there making a difference in this world and opening minds to people. I mean, I'll never forget when I went to Guatemala and people would just always be like, how did you end up there? And, what are you doing? And just to know that like, filming a quick video ended up feeding, this kid in Guatemala that no one even knew. Like I thought was incredible. And so I want to show people the trailer really quick and we'll continue.
Hey, would you sell me your sign?
Sure.
How much?
$10.
All right.
I started buying and collecting homeless signs back in 1993, really as a way to deal with my own discomfort when I saw a person holding a sign on the street. My name is Willie Baronet. I am here in my art studio in Bishop Arts, which is part of Dallas, Texas. It wasn't until I was in grad school that I named it We Are All Homeless. And ever since then, the project has started to take on a little bit of a life of its own, which culminated in this trip this summer. I ended up traveling from Seattle down to San Diego and ending in New York City, buying homeless signs in each of the cities.
Sir, will you sell me your sign?
It says, in need of a good deed, my man.
And one of the things that was really cool about the trip across the country this summer was that I got to have long conversations with a lot of the folks that I bought signs from. In Baltimore, I met this young woman named Ellie. She's 17. She'd been homeless on and off for quite a while. She lived in a room with a bunch of her family. Speaks 4 or 5 languages. Was not somebody I expected to meet on the street. There was a man in Omaha. His name was Michael. He was a veteran missing one of his legs, and I just felt a real connection to him. And I could go on and on about these stories. There are so many people that I met that touched me in one way or another. I get lots of feedback from people about the power of the signs and how overwhelming it is to see hundreds of signs in one place. If we can change the awareness people have, I think that's where all of this begins to change. Help them understand that there's no one story that fits all of them. What I would say is that if you can, just simply acknowledge that person. Let them see the humanity in you, see the humanity in them. And if you do nothing else, I think that's a huge thing.
Amazing. And I think that's, man, I'm telling you, that's a powerful trailer. I think that if you're watching and whoever you are, whatever belief you are, or you have, I think we both want to encourage you, go out and do something. The time is too short. I mean, maybe it's just because my mom died and, I've dealt with death a lot in my life, but I'm always thinking about time and how much longer we have. Right. And, there's people all around us that need, someone just to at least show love to. And so whoever you are, whatever your belief is, we need to be kind to each other. We need to love each other. And it shouldn't even be a need. It should be just a natural desire that you have to go and help people where they are, because you'll also never know when you're going to need that same help. Right. And so, I just really want to encourage everyone for watching, to go and check out this documentary and really go and do something with your life that is incredible. Willie, I thank you so much for being on this podcast. Do you have anything else before we end?
I'm proud of you, and thank you for the energy you bring into the world and the love and grace and compassion. I agree with you. I hope that people will, because not everybody has that leftover energy to give, but what I would say is if they will listen to what you're saying, go and find a way to be of service. I know that no matter how bad my day is, when I focus on being of service, that's almost always the time when I get reconnected.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I love that you're a professor and you're mentoring, however many people you're mentoring. I think that's incredible. And thank you for always being in my life and helping me and guiding me. And it's just so incredible to have people like you in my life. And so thank you so much for watching. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And I want to encourage you, share this video, comment, interact with this video. Go and find Willie as well. He's on social media as well. Go and find his project, We Are All Homeless. Go and watch his documentary tonight on Amazon Prime. Other than that, we love all of you and thank you so much, all of you, for watching the Kyle